What's up guys? A little bit later than I thought this video would be, but I've been flat out filming all day on the Wheeler Dealers Dream Car Show. Coming to, oh you're joking! Monday night, bell ringing practice, remember that? Oh, fuck's sake. Right, for those of you who might be new to this channel, I apologise, but I live next door to a church, and on a Monday evening they do bell ringing practice, and it's always just when I'm recording a video. Anyway, I've moved inside. You can probably still hear him in the background, but that's as good as it's going to get. Anyway, it's Monday, which means it's time for Ask Elvis, but because I'm so late home from work tonight, and because there's only really one topic that everyone's talking about today, today's Ask Elvis video will centre around one question. It's basically one question that loads of you have asked me, but I have picked this one from Freddie Junker. And he says, what do you make of Red Bull's driver switch? Especially, why do you think they chose Albon over Kvyat, considering Kvyat has almost twice the points? Do you think that Max may have had a say? Right, so first part, well, let's answer the last part. First of all, I don't think Max will have had a say in that. No, I really honestly don't think they would have consulted him. I think that Red Bull is bigger than Max Verstappen. Yes, he's their pin-up, he's their poster boy, he's the centre of all their operations right now, but he doesn't make the decisions, and I don't think that would ever be the case at Red Bull. So I don't think he would have been consulted necessarily. They may well have talked about it with him, but his opinion will definitely not have been the deciding factor. Why did they choose Albon over Kvyat? Well, let's first of all say it's maybe not a big surprise. Pierre Gasly, a great driver, a lovely lad, has just struggled to adapt to that Red Bull car. And I've seen lots of people today talking about, well, he struggled to adapt to a top team. He hasn't struggled to adapt to a top team. He struggled to adapt to that particular car, to get the best out of that car, whereas his teammate, Max, is absolutely wringing its neck and getting everything out of it. So they know what is possible with that Red Bull. And Pierre, unfortunately, just was not able to deliver anywhere near the results. And the biggest thing is perhaps he hasn't really been seen to be progressing towards that. He hasn't made any significant development. He hasn't been able to adapt his style to suit the car, and they're certainly not going to adapt the car to suit him when it's working so well for Max. So perhaps not a surprise that Pierre Gasly has lost that seat. But the important thing is that Pierre Gasly, yes, he's going to be really upset, he's going to be really down and probably feeling pretty low right now, but he should take some heart from the fact that we've already seen this can happen, and yet it doesn't have to be the end of your Formula One career. He is going back to Toro Rosso for now, where he still has a Formula One drive, a competitive Formula One drive, a drive that, you know, drivers up and down across the world dream of having. So he's in a great position, let's not forget. And he's not yet dead and buried. He's still a great driver with a lot of potential. Perhaps he just needs to find a way to unlock himself to be able to drive other cars. Anyway, let's park Pierre Gasly for now. I hope he doesn't get too down and depressed about that. I hope he sees that he still has a great opportunity. Let's look then at why they chose Albon over Kvyat. And for me, it's pretty simple. For me, it's exactly the decision that I would have made faced with that choice, because, look, they already know what Danny Kvyat can do. I know that he may have come back stronger second time around, but is he the future of Red Bull? And the answer to that is no. You have to remember what the whole Red Bull program exists for. It's there to find the next Sebastian Vettel, to find the next Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is not guaranteed to be a Red Bull driver forever. And so they need to find the next person. They're not going to get that from Danny Kvyat, with the greatest respect. He may well be solid, he may well be dependable, but is he exciting? Is he someone that's going to ruffle Formula One feathers? Probably not. Could that person be Alex Albon though? Yes, why not? He's come in at very short notice. Let's not forget he'd signed to drive the Nissan Formula E car and was there at the very first pre-season test ahead of this season's Formula E Championship. And before he'd even got into the Formula E car, he'd been pulled out of that test at Valencia. I was there, and he'd had a phone call from Helmut Marko to call him up to Formula One. So it was a rushed entry into the sport, but it hasn't fazed him, has it? He's dealt with it incredibly well. He's dealt with the pressure incredibly well. He's dealt with all of the technical aspects of the sport. If you speak to anybody at Toro Rosso, they cannot speak highly enough about Alex. He's a nice guy. He's gone about everything in exactly the right way. And the results on track, although they haven't been perfect and he has made mistakes, they have been pretty spectacular in terms of what a rookie could be delivering in that car. He's been exciting. That's what Red Bull are looking for. They're looking for somebody exciting who could be the next Max Verstappen. And the only way they're going to find out if they've got the next Max Verstappen or Sebastian Vettel is to pop him in the Red Bull, is to put him inside that top team, give him some machinery and see if he can really set the world alight. Because if he does, then great. And if he doesn't, well, maybe they move on to the next one. And for everybody saying this could be too early for Albon, this could be the nail in the coffin in his career, look, I don't buy that. I see this as a massive opportunity for Albon. I hope and I think that he'll deal with it in the same way that the massive opportunity to get in the Toro Rosso was for him. He took that in his stride. That must have been a huge amount of pressure in itself. So I don't think the pressure will get to him. Will the pressure of Max Verstappen being your teammate get to you? Well, that's another story. And there's only one way to find out whether you can cope with that, and that's put him in the same car. Personally, I think he's a level-headed kid that will probably not get too fazed by the politics, I hope. But I cannot wait to see what he can do, and I really think this is a brave move by Red Bull, but actually it's not too risky. They're in a unique, privileged situation where they have this pool of drivers. They're all great drivers, but they have the opportunity to be able to try them out in different machinery. That's an opportunity that most Formula One teams just don't get the chance to do. So they have half a season now to assess him and to decide whether he could be the one that could take the step up for 2020. Because Red Bull have a problem. They have a driver conveyor belt problem, don't they? In that there's a massive gap in their conveyor belt. Where is the next Max Verstappen? Where is the next Sebastian Vettel in that program for them? Don't think they have a natural, obvious choice unless perhaps it turns out to be Albon. So I think it's going to be really interesting to watch. It's the first key move in the driver market, and I know it's not a move yet ahead of 2020, but it's definitely the first sign of a shake-up, the first possibility that somebody, in terms of Albon, is getting an opportunity, is being assessed, and I wonder where it will lead to. As ever though, I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Of course, lots of you have been sending them all day on Twitter and Instagram. I haven't really had a chance to respond, so apologies. I will try and get through some of those over the course of tonight and tomorrow. But hit me up in the comments section of this video. I'd love to know what you thought. Was it a good move? Do you feel bad for Pierre Gasly? Should he have been given more time? You know, what should Kvyat have been given the opportunity to step up once again and have another shot at it? And also, if, let's say, of this pool of Red Bull Toro Rosso drivers, if we're going to say Kvyat and Pierre Gasly, well, if they're not the future of Red Bull, well then who is? Who comes in next on the conveyor belt of Red Bull drivers to take a Toro Rosso seat or even the Red Bull seat for 2020? Love to know your thoughts. Thanks very much again, and I will be back very soon. Ta-da.